Hi, this is Max Cranley from max.p2games.ca. My second blog entry. I'm at our development studio, and I was just about to do some batch rendering, and I figured, why not record it and then show everyone, and then that's something that if you didn't know how to do it before, might save you time in the future if you're developing some games like we are. So to recap, we are creating this game Subject 94, which is a space shooter. All of our sprites for Subject 94 are 64 by 64 for the player ships, for the enemy ships, for the explosions, obviously. Our enemy bosses, big end bosses, are 128 by 128 usually. So we were considering, because of the nature of our device being very small, we were considering making all of our sprites smaller. We're talking about going from a 64 by 64 size to a 32 by 32 size. Why go to a quarter of the size? Well, when you're working with any kind of computer processor, powers of 2 are easier for it to process. It will allow us to make everything run more seamlessly in-game, and that's what's really important. If it takes us a little more time to dev to make it run more smoothly, then it's worth it to us. So let me show you. These are our player ship sprites, and I have already changed the size of these images from 64 by 64 to 32 by 32. So that's what I'm going to be doing with our explosion sprites right now. So I've already got my explosion sprites loaded up. I'm going to show you what they look like. These are actually very cool and very easy to make, and I'm going to show everyone how to make these in a later post, and where to get some software that really does a lot of the work for you. But starting at frame 15, there's 16 frame explosion animations. We have 5 of them. Starting at frame 16, which looks like this. It looks like nothing, just a couple of tiny little pixels that you can not even see on this explosion. And then when it gets to frame 0000, obviously you see the full explosion. So why don't you take a look at this. I'm going to close these, and you can see the animation as it happens. This is what it's going to play like, although obviously much faster in Subject 94, our game. So they're all just closing, and that's a great way that I actually just found to preview some animations. So let me open those back up now, and I'll show you how to batch render them to change the size from 64 by 64 to 32 by 32 of all of these sprites at the same time, which will save you tons of time if you ever need to do an adjustment to a large number of sprites. You can record anything, any kind of action, and batch render or batch apply that action to a bunch of images in batches. So I've opened up my Actions tab, and if you don't have your Actions tab open, you can find it in Window, Actions. Click on that. So we are going to just resize the image. So I'm going to create a new one. I already have an image reduction action, but I'm going to create a new one. Blog image reduct. Okay. Now, what I could do is I could add a new folder with all of my Subject 94 actions, but considering I don't have that many Subject 94 actions to do right now, I'm just going to put it into my default actions folder, which is the folder that comes with Photoshop CS4. So now I'm recording. I've created it. My record button is on. To stop the record, I go like that. To restart the record, I go like that. And I am going to resize this image. Now keep in mind that I can do whatever I want with this image, and it will record every single action that I record. So if I want to move my image, change the canvas size, change the color, change my filter, or add a layer, whatever I want to do, I can record it, and then I can do it to a batch of files all at the same time. For this, I'm doing something very simple, and this is good for learning, just doing a 32 by 32. So this should be 72, doesn't really matter, and these will be 32. I'm going to resample the image. I'm going to go to bicubic sharper, best for reduction, because I'm reducing the image obviously, and that's it. That's what I did to explosion 5 frame 15. So now I'm going to stop the record, because that's all I wanted to do, and that's all I'm going to want to do to the other ones. I'm going to save this one, because I don't want to do it again, and close it. I'm going to go into File, Automate, Batch. Set default actions. As I showed you, this is the folder that I will find my action within. I didn't create a new one, but I could have, in which it would be in that new folder. I need to go down and find my action, which is blog image reduction. That's the one I just created. Source open files. I've already opened all of my files are open. This is the way I want to do it. Now keep in mind you could do it from a folder if you set up a separate folder, and you could import from a folder first, but I've already opened my file, so I'm going to go like that. Destination, save, and close. Now this is going to save over all of the images that I already have in the folder that I'm pulling it out of. Now there are a number of other ways that you can do it. If you didn't set up a separate folder like I did, you might want to add a save action when you create your action, and use this tool here to actually give it a new name, and you can make sure that you don't save over your previous art. Now I set up a separate folder, which I think is a good idea for everyone, and this means I can just save over the images in there. It's just a tester. So I go OK, and away we go. It's going to change the image size of every single explosion image that I had open, which is about 60 images. And I think this would save me about 3 hours of going through every single image and changing the image size. So like I said, it's really useful, and it's a good tool to have just in case the first time you make this piece of art it's not absolutely perfect, which is going to happen all the time.
Right. Want to see what I just did?
Okay, so
oh no.
okay, so I just finished, and it closed itself up. Now I go into the folder that I set up for it, and I go to check my files. All of my explosions are now 32 by 32 instead of 64 by 64, which means it worked out perfectly, and I'm very happy. So thank you very much for coming by. Stay tuned for more blogs coming up about the dev on this game and how we did what we did. And I'll see you later.